The California Technology Council's new CTC Benefits Trust combines groups of emerging technology companies to offer large company benefits to small businesses. This approach delivers employee benefit programs with better choices and at a lower cost. What's included? Medical, dental, and vision options are available with additional employer and employee online resources to support simplified enrollment and administration. To learn more, go to californiatechnology.org/join. That's californiatechnology.org/join. I'm Daniel Levine, and this is the Bio Report. Artificial intelligence is all the rage in drug discovery today, but there are efforts to apply the technology to other aspects of the drug development continuum to improve decision-making and increase efficiency. One such example is Phesi, which has developed an artificial intelligence platform to improve clinical site selection, evaluate protocol designs and patient inclusion criteria, and manage the implementation of trials. We spoke to Jen Lee, founder and president of Phesi, about the company's AI platform, how it works, and the case for the use of artificial intelligence as a tool to improve drug development. Jen, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Dan, for having me.
We're going to talk about Phesi, its artificial intelligence platform, and how you're using it to help clients make better decisions around the clinical development of experimental therapies. Perhaps you can begin with a description of Phesi and what it does, who its customer is, and how it makes money.
Phesi was created 12 years ago. We are a data-driven clinical development organization. We leverage our database, which is big data, and also our statistical model and algorithm. Those are artificial intelligence to help our clients to more objectively planning and executing clinical trials. It was created based on the situation that despite clinical development as an industry was spent $100 billion a year, the level of the complexity of the operations management was never appropriately handled. The simpleton we are seeing either inside of the industry or external to the industry are those prolonged enrollment cycle time, blooming budgets, and so never easy to complete a trial as we originally planned. Those are the simpletons are being driven by the fact that we really have little understanding about how those clinical development process are from the operational management point of view being structured and implemented. So the Phesi was created to reveal those patterns and those fundamental structures driving those deliverables from the clinical development point of view. So that's where the way Phesi has been working. The clients benefiting us from several different ways. First of all, we are helping them to looking at a originally mystified picture of planning a clinical trial to a more structured way. So, for example, there are always conflict between the clinical trial teams and the senior management in terms of how long it's taking a clinical trial to complete. That conflict also happens between the pharmaceutical industry companies and the CROs. So as the result of it, it's usually the senior management wanted to have a clinical trial to complete much faster, to getting the drug to be approved much quicker, and the CROs, not understandably, often wanting to have more sites, and they are expecting to run much longer time. With the Phesi platform, we allow them looking at the picture in a much more objective fashion. That way, we'll be able to implement it as planned.
The clinical development of a drug involves many decisions that a drug developer must consider along the way. This includes things such as indication assessments, protocol evaluation, clinical trial site selection, and trial management. How are these things generally done by drug developers today? Do they rely on existing relationships, recommendations, gut feelings, or is this a highly data-driven process?
Unfortunately, it's anything but a data-driven process. It highly relies on the level of the experience of those individuals in those being assigned with those tasks. For example, a medical professional often play a very important role of defining a therapeutic product profile and development and other elements of development plan, writing a protocol, and etc. So that's where the fundamental reasons of a lot of uncertainty coming from, and also a lot of mistakes being embedded in those, because those are really much empirical derived solutions, not a data-driven solutions.
What's the consequence of these decisions? How much is at stake, and what can the impact on the cost and duration and success of a clinical trial be?
It is impacting in many ways. A clinical trial in today's setting, most of the times, for example, like a phase 3 clinical trial, it's based on the results of a phase 2 clinical trial by a linear extrapolation. And as a result of it, because the relationship is not actually a linear relationship from our understanding, but if you do using a linear extrapolation at today's practical practice as of today, the result is that a phase 3 clinical trial often lasts much longer than original plan. And that means it's going to be much more costly from the financial point of view, but it's also going to delay the time for patients to getting those much needed medicine.
Phesi has an artificial intelligence platform. I suspect its value can only be as good as the data it has. What data does it include, and where do you get the data from?
That's a very good question. We are calling ourselves a big data driven and artificial intelligence enabled platform, because we are collecting data from all four corners of the internet. And there are examples like clinicaltrials.gov, which is sanctioned by the U.S. government. Then you have similar drug registries all over the world, in Europe, in Japan, in China, in many places. So those are the type of the source of the data we are getting from. We are also getting data from many of the clinical trial sites. They're posting their information in the different places, and also the academic conferences. They have meeting abstract and share the information we're getting information from those places as well. And there are some of the less known sources of the information we are also getting from, but they are vast majority of the data we are getting are from the public domain, but we're also purchasing certain data sets from different places. The idea of our platform is not necessarily the amount of data we are having with. The key to our power of the platform largely residing on our capabilities to structure the data in a meaningful way and cross-checking data from different sources with each other to making sure the quality are reliable and consistent. And in all of those spaces, our approach are absolutely innovative and in the most forefront of the artificial intelligence, and in parallel with those data extracting and process and the structuring process is the interpretation of the data, and those are having equally as much innovation in our platform, and those are the innovation are being patented through a series of patents in the U.S. and the rest of the world.
How does someone go about using the system?
We are having two mechanisms of our clients to utilizing the system. Traditionally, we have been a service-based organization. We are engaging our clients and in a human-to-human interaction and getting the understanding the projects and giving our input to various elements, from the integrated clinical development process to the indication assessment, to protocol planning, to the clinical trial implementation. So along the time, we figured out there's a need to productize some of our services to making it easier for our clients to access. And that's where we have developed a clinical investigator site selection platform we call the ClinSite. That's a platform. It's a software for as a services. So in that platform, our clients can going into any of the computer with internet access to search the investigator sites according to what they need, and that's a very friendly interface, and many of our clients call it like Google-like fashion to work, and we are hoping with that ClinSite will allow many of more of our clients to benefit our platform.
Well, I'm hoping you can walk me through the different ways the system's used. Tell me what data is available, what customers using the system to figure out what. Let's start with the development, planning, and indication assessment.
We are working with our clients based on their product, their actually clinical candidate profile, and injecting the view as a data-enabled fashion. Let me give you one example. One of our clients were in a mechanism of lowering, dealing with iron overload patients. So that type of the patients having a disease called thalassemia. So their original plan was to looking at a single indication and forecast the peak sales to be about $600 million. And when we've been called in, we started looking at the iron overload mechanism. We recognize that that's a cluster of diseases all share similar mechanism. So instead of targeting only thalassemia, and we're asking them actually targeting a group of indication. By doing so, their original projection of the peak sales raised from $600 million a year to $3.2 billion a year. So that's the type of the ways we help them injecting data-driven perspectives to allow them comfortably and confidently making solutions to maximize the value of their product or product in development.
How about protocol assessment?
Protocol assessment is a fascinating area, and as we are pushing out a site selection solution called the CleanSite, many of the enrollment-related challenges are not caused by investigator site performance. Rather, they were actually being caused by the inadequate design of the protocols. In the Phesi platform, we are in the process of developing a similar product in that area, which we're looking at the historically studied clinical trials in any of those indications. We currently have over 300,000 protocols in our database, which allow us looking at the detailed pattern in all of the design elements associated with a particular disease, then allow us to build a modal value, which is statistical term, really means the most frequently used value. And using that frame structure to allow our clients to start injecting innovative ideas to change and modify those values. But the benefit and the power of the Phesi platform is to allow our clients not only just having an anchored structure to making those change, but also having the ability to understand the operational impact because of those changes being made. And for example, if you're shrinking the patient population by restricting their age or by the severity of their disease symptom, you will start to looking the increase of the number of investigator sites needed for the trial, and the enrollment cycle times becomes longer. Those are obvious reasons, but our systems will allow our clients to making much more sophisticated assessment and decisions based on our platform.
How about when it comes to the selection of sites for a clinical trial?
Our site selection solution, it's a solution. It's a very competitive space from site selection vendors' point of view, but generally speaking, many of those platforms are providing data, not a solution. Our platform allow our clients to looking at a particular disease indication, then we will guiding them to the country distribution of those qualified sites around the world. And then from those country picture, we allow our clients to dive into a specific country or specific set of countries. Then we allow them to, we actually assign a set of the score, allow our clients to make decisions on those of sites they needed for their clinical trial. Then the CleanSite will go further to provide the detailed profile for each of those investigator sites, including from some of the mechanic elements of the information, their address and email and telephone, etc., to much more sophisticated description. For example, historically, what are the trials they have run and what's the capacity they have at the data sites to run certain trials, and as well as their performance in running those clinical trials. Then going further, we start looking at their medical knowledge profile. So if they are a oncologist, are they oncologists specialized in a particular type of cancer or a set of cancer? If it's a set of cancer, where are their true expertise area resides? So, and we're also looking at their experience in working with different types of drug candidates. Is that either small molecule or a vaccine or an antibody? And we will be able to making those experiments visible in a quantitative and objective fashion. So those are all of the things are being built the way based on massive amount of data running behind in real time and allow them to making the decision based on those collective view we provide by this platform.
The last one I wanted to ask you about was trial implementation management. What does this include, and how does the system do this?
Could you repeat that again?
Sure. The last one I wanted to ask you about was trial implementation management. What exactly does the system do in this regard?
That is the trial implementation management. It's not a part of the clean side, but it's a separate set of capability in the Phesi platforms. The meaning of it is that, as you can imagine, the implementation of a clinical trial, particularly a medium and large scale of clinical trials, can be a very complicated and sophisticated system engineering projects. So what we are allowing our capability allow our clients to do is to looking at the space in a structured view. For example, who are the potential high enrolling sites and who are not, but not just looking at a static picture, but looking at it in a more dynamic way. So we incorporating certain mechanisms to prioritize those sites and supporting them with different types of resources to allow those sites with the best potential to enroll patients get the most support. That way, we will be able to save money and resources, and also with the potential to shorten enrollment cycle time. And those are all, we have patented methods to support that implementation process.
You mentioned a stunning example early on about the patient, the company that was developing a treatment for iron overload. Is there anything more generally you can say the payoff has been for people who have used the system? Are there case studies to point to? Are there actual savings or time savings that have been realized?
There are three major benefits from our clients' perspective. One benefit is to gain the kind of visibility to the outcomes of their plan, and which will be very much improve the communication effectiveness between the sponsor of the drug candidate and the CRO, and between the senior management and the specific project team. So that's one type of the benefit. Another type of the benefit is to allow the picture to be objectively assessed, then to pull different levers to either optimize the enrollment cycle time or looking at the most cost-effective way to implement the trial. In some instances, we would be able to looking at a particular clinical trial just from the design point of view, we can predict that they actually cannot be successfully implemented. And one example of so, it's a GVHD, which is a horrible disease associated with transplantation. And one type of intervention is the treatment of those patients. Another one is the prevention of the patients from happening that disease. It looks like very similar trial, but by using our platform, we indicated that the prevention trial is actually much more costly, feasible than the treatment trial. As a matter of fact, our model tells our clients the treatment trial will take 3 times more of the sites, and with even longer enrollment cycle time to implement. And based on our assessment, our clients actually basically canned the treatment trial and focusing on the prevention trial. By doing so, they achieved the similar marketing objective, but saved likely about $30 to $40 million. And that's just one type of example. Another example is at that time a rare disease in cancer world, and our clients got a very promising clinical development candidate. So the senior management is so eager to putting this candidate to patient. So they basically telling the project team, say, tell us how much money you need to do this, but I want you to be able to complete this trial in 20 months. So the trial team somehow understand that this is not doable, but they don't know how to express it. So we look at all aspects of that clinical trial by looking at the competition, by looking at the business process, which is site activation, by looking at the site performance, and by also looking at the product design. We presented our assessment to the senior management, and in that assessment, we concluded that trial cannot be completed shorter than 30 months. So, but because of the reliability and objectivity of our assessment, the senior management agreed with our planned enrollment cycle time. So at the end, instead of everybody falling into frustration and many of the other uncertainties associated, the trial was successfully implemented exactly as we predicted, and the drug is actually now approved, and now they are approved medicine to the cancer patients in that indication.
There's a lot of discussion about the use of AI in discovery and in the clinic, less so about applying it to clinical development. How do you see this changing or improving the clinical development process?
It's the complexity in the clinical development comparing with the discovery space. It's the patients. Patients, it's the center of our business, but they are also the fundamental reason of causing so much of the complexities associated with clinical development. So we are a true believer that with the amount of the data now we are having with, and with the sophistication of our capability of interpreting those data, we are in a very good position to allow the artificial intelligence to be widely implemented and applied in various of clinical development scenarios. We just talked about the clinical integrated clinical development planning. We talked about protocol design. We talked about the site selection. We also talked about the clinical trial implementation management. But I wanted to also share the excitement is that we also accumulate over 30 million of patient data, well structured and derived from those controlled clinical trials. That will be the type of the data we are looking forward to use to do like synthetic arm or even simulate certain types of the clinical trials. We are so much excited to see those other things being put into practice.
Jen Lee, founder and president of Phesi. Jen, thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you very much, Dan, for having me.
Thanks for listening. The Bio Report is a production of the Levine Media Group. To automatically download this podcast each week, subscribe to our RSS feed or through iTunes or other podcast manager. To join our mailing list, go to levinemediagroup.com. We'd love to hear from you. If you want to drop us a line or are interested in sponsoring this podcast, send email to danny@levinemediagroup.com. Special thanks to Jonah Levine, who composed our theme music, and the Jonah Levine Collective, which performs it.